It's the stage where tradition, excellence, and style come together in perfect harmony. Everyone certainly brings their best. Have you ever wondered what conversations take place under these umbrellas, the stories they could tell? The shared smiles, the spirited conversations, the laughter in the air that carries between the roars of the crowds. Under the umbrellas, the world simply slows down. We remember why this place, this tournament, is about so much more. Hi, I'm Kira K. Dixon, and today Amanda Balionis is under the umbrellas. Our very first guest. Amanda, welcome.
Hi, Kira. This is fun.
This is so fun. The girls are together.
The girls are together on maybe my favorite part of the entire course, dare I say. The umbrellas are the vibe.
The competitors of the Augusta National Women's Amateur have earned it, have gotten to do something that's so unique in the game of golf, and you're a day oneer. You were there from the very beginning of the Augusta National Women's Amateur. What has that experience been like for you?
I'm not exaggerating this when I say covering the Augusta National Women's Amateur has been like one of the joys of my life. Like one of the joys of my life. And I don't know if you know this about golf, but it tends to move a little slowly sometimes.
No.
There feels like maybe a pace of play joke in there, but that's not what I mean. I mean on a grander
different
stage
show.
of things. Yeah. And I remember when Chairman Ridley announced the Augusta National Women's Amateur and thinking, this is amazing, and I can't wait for it to make an impact in 5 or 6 years down the road. I can't wait for people to start paying it. It's going to take a little bit, like everything does seemingly in the game. But I know that eventually this will make its mark. I vividly remember thinking that. This is really cool, but it won't be that cool yet. It's going to take a while for people to pay attention. And boy, was I wrong. That final round with Jennifer Kupcho and Maria Fassi and eagling 13. I mean, what those two did on that final stretch was skill-wise, not only absolutely incredible, but the way that they handled themselves, right? The way they supported each other.
Yeah, the sportsmanship they showed.
Iconic photos of those two walking side by side down the fairways, fist pumping each other, encouraging each other, understanding the moment that they found themselves in the significance of it. I don't think it was lost on either of them. The show they were putting on in the stage that they were doing it on. And I remember thinking I was completely wrong. This thing just had a meteoric rise in a way that I have not seen since covering golf, and this immediate impact was made. And it reflected in the ratings. It reflected in how long people were talking about it for. I mean, the fact that I can say to you, Jennifer Kupcho, Maria Fassi, and you think about the great careers they've gone on to have, when you say those two names together, you synonymously think the final round of the first edition of the Augusta National Women's Amateur. That's amazing, right? And then you go on to think about Rose Zhang, and then you think about what happened even last year, right? I could go on forever, but I don't know how long I'm allowed to talk about this, but
we got nowhere to be.
I can go on forever
We're
about
under the
this. You know, Lottie Woad, who's now coming in as world #1 this week, she birdied 3 of her final 4 holes to beat Bailey Shoemaker, who shot a bogey-free 66 at Augusta National. A bogey-free 66, Kira.
It's unheard. It's crazy.
That was better by 1 stroke than what Jennifer Kupcho did in that first year, which at the time felt absolutely unbeatable. And Bailey does that sitting there with her teammates from USC, thinking, I have to have won this, right? There's nothing more she could have done. And Lottie Woad says, hold on a second, birdies 3 of her last 4. It was so gutsy, 15-footer on the last. Like, this is stuff that when you're thinking about it and you remove the names, you're thinking, what Masters was that? I would love to see that. And you're like, this is the Augusta National Women's Amateur. These are the top players in the world. And they're putting on a show like we've never seen. It's just, it truly, when I tell you it's a joy, I just think they have been able to show why they deserve to be elevated every single year and why people should be watching. I mean, we say this now, right? Everybody watches women's sports. Everybody should be watching the Augusta National Women's Amateur because it is worth the watch every single year.
When you cover the Augusta National Women's Amateur, when you go into this week, what are the conversations that the competitors come up and have with you? What are the things that they share with you about
why they're so excited to be here?
I think everyone has, again, I go back to that sense of gratitude, right? Like what makes the Masters so special? It's the exact same thing for the competitors of the Augusta National Women's Amateur, right? They are so full of gratitude. They have worked so hard to earn that invitation. That invitation comes in the mail, and it's just exciting for them. And those videos are just as amazing as when the guys post it, right? Receiving their invitations.
I want to see their invitations more than I want to see the guys'
It's all
invitations.
so good, but it truly is that sense of gratitude. And Augusta National, I mean, they really back up what they say when they talk about growing the amateur game. I mean, everything they do is perfection, right? Like these women walk away from this week with experiences. It doesn't matter if they shoot 80 and miss the cut or they're in contention on Saturday afternoon. They're all having experiences that they will never have likely for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
Having the chance to drive down Magnolia Lane, having a dinner with Chairman Ridley and other Augusta National members. I mean, the red carpet is rolled out for them.
The green carpet.
The green carpet from start to finish. It's amazing. It's just amazing to see. And I think they understand now that this championship is in its 6th edition, everybody understands what this experience is like. And I mean, they have 49 of the top 50 in the world here this week. That's because nobody wants to miss this experience. It doesn't matter how well they're playing or not.
No, it's a once in a lifetime thing. You never
wants to
know if
miss
you're going to get invited back or not. So
That's
you
right.
better take your chance
That's
and
right.
come and enjoy it no
Yeah.
matter what's going on. And speaking of amateur golf and Augusta National's initiatives with amateur golf, you have gotten to travel the world as part of a lot of those initiatives. So what have those experiences been like?
The Asia Pacific Amateur Championship is one of the cooler things I get to do. And it's really, to me, it's so symbolic of the way golf opens up doors for you in so many other ways off the golf course as well. Minwoo Lee, who just won this past week, you were there in Houston. I've known about Minwoo Lee because I was covering him at the Asia Pacific Amateur Championship, right? So it feels like you get to learn about the future stars before anybody else knows about them. And I think that's one of the coolest things. My first time covering the Masters was 2018. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And every year, it's just gotten better and better. You've evolved in your role so much over the years. How would you compare Amanda Balionis' coverage of the Masters tournament and the Augusta National Women's Amateur versus what you did back in 2018?
Well, you always hope that you're improving and evolving. I always say that it's such a privilege, and so few people have ever had the privilege of saying they're a part of the Masters broadcast announce team. So I don't take that lightly. No one on our team takes that lightly. And this is the 1 week a year where, even though you know it's impossible to be perfect in live television, you want to be so perfect this week to prove that you are deserving of this honor, to be the one to present the greatest tournament on earth to viewers at home that have been waiting for this since the previous April. It's a lot of pressure, but it's great pressure. It's pressure because we care so deeply, and we just want to put our best foot forward so that this tournament can shine in the way it deserves to. So you always hope that you get better. I try to remind myself it doesn't have to be perfect. Just be as prepared as you can be. But I think the more relaxed you can feel, the clearer your head is, and the better I think you're able to do your job. So I guess when I think back to where my brain was at in 2018 versus where my brain is now in 2025, I think I have more confidence to be able to do my job at hopefully the highest level possible this week.
So deserving, of course. And it's one of those things, you think of the azaleas, you think of the umbrellas, you think of the big tree, you think of Amanda Balionis.
That's true.
How
That's really
you
nice.
know it's time for the Masters.
Jim Nance might like a word with you on that one, but I'll take that one,
Well,
Kira.
if Jim Nance would like to sit down under the umbrellas, he is more than welcome to join us absolutely anytime. So you mentioned that a big part of what you do is to provide the best possible experience for the viewers at home. Not everybody gets to show up to Augusta National and get to walk the grounds, so it's such a huge burden to be able to present the best possible thing. So when you're talking to those that are watching from home, and how would you describe this moment, being under the umbrellas, being under the big tree?
There's no there's no feeling, I don't think, that compares to walking onto the grounds of Augusta National. And for those of you watching that haven't been here, I feel like now this is just turning into like, I'm sorry, this is not meant to be.
But we want to give the feels.
Yeah, but it really is. It's so special, I think, for so many reasons. And I was just talking to someone about this. They asked me what makes the Masters so special. And I think there's so many things. But to me, when I think about it, it's the collective gratitude that everybody has being here. It is those who are competing, to the caddies, to those of us covering it, to the patrons. Everybody here walks onto these grounds and feels lucky that we, the collective we, get to be a part of this incredible moment together. And the fact that there are no phones allowed, the fact that it's, you're still getting those secondary roars, right? Something happens on a hole that you might not be on. The moment that manual leaderboard changes, you hear that secondary roar. I get goosebumps even thinking about it because everyone is so in the moment and feels so grateful to be able to experience it. And you never know what's going to happen. You know that these historic moments happen year after year. You never know what's going to happen, but if you're here, you're going to be a witness to something that you'll remember for the rest of your life. And I think that's why it's so hard to replicate it anywhere else.
What are the moments you remember for the rest of your life?
I would say the one that consistently sticks out is obviously 2020 Masters in November. That was just surreal in general. Gosh, talk about being grateful to be here.
Yeah.
I would not say there was a sense of normalcy because the Masters was happening during football season. ESPN had College Game Day, if you remember, here as well, which was amazing as a massive football fan. That I just thought that was the converging of my two favorite worlds in a magical place. But then to be able to have that interview with Dustin Johnson after he left Butler Cabin, it was an interview that has never been done before. Hopefully will never happen again because that would mean crazy circumstances are upon us once again. But that was one of, I think, the coolest moments of my entire career. And simply just because I was lucky enough to be the one to be on that green. And I was watching Dustin as we were in commercial break and no one was talking. And there were all of these photographers in front of us. So our big jib camera was coming down. What you couldn't see behind that camera was all of the photographers getting ready to get their green jacket photo of Dustin after. So that's the stuff that we obviously were off air at that point. Nobody ever gets to see this. I certainly had never experienced it. And Austin is standing over to the side and he's already crying. His brother, right, who was obviously on the bag for him. And Paulina's there and she's emotional and the photographers are there. And you can tell that this is the first moment Dustin has had to take a breath and soak in what he has just accomplished with the green jacket on. And when he broke down in that interview, I just thought, this is the Dustin everyone's been dying to see. Like, we all know he cares, but he never let us see how much he cared before that moment. And again, there's just something so magical about this place and this tournament that there's no keeping those walls up when you've accomplished something that you've dreamed about your entire life. So I just thought it was a special moment for a lot of reasons, but just to see one of the greats of our game show that emotion that I think we've all been wanting to see for so long, and during a really emotional time in the world, by the way. That was kind of just one of those heartstring moments that it felt so good. It's why we love sports. Like that was it. That's why we fall in love with the game and the people who play it.
Yeah, it felt like such a balm at the time, too, for everything that was going on in the world. I remember watching that live and being so proud of you as your friend, and just because you said that you were lucky to be here, but you earned that opportunity. It didn't just happen. That's because of who you are. So as we think about this edition of the Masters tournament, talk to me about the fashion. What are you looking forward to see? What's your favorite
Kira,
inspo?
It's really intimidating to talk fashion with Miss America. Can we just, I feel like you should be telling us, you are forever Miss America. It's just like being a Masters champion. You're not a former Masters champion.
I'll take it.
You're a Masters champion. You are Miss America. I tell
Right.
everybody, just ask your
Everybody.
It's one of my proud moments as a friend. I love to
Thank
brag
you.
about you and your accomplishments because I don't have, that's
have-
great.
yeah.
That's great.
Everyone's very accomplished.
You're the most accomplished.
Okay,
We can argue
okay.
about that later.
The fashion.
Fashion. Okay, back to
'Cause
fashion.
You have to curate 2 weeks worth of outfits. This is a lot. It's a lot
I
of
do,
pressure.
but you know, I am lucky enough. I get to slip on that CBS blazer
That's true.
on the weekend, so I don't have to think too much about my fashion, around the golf course. But I think when I think of golf course fashion, I am a comfort girly through and through.
Sure.
So I love an athleisure, like elevated athleisure, might be my aesthetic.
That's a great
I think we're just
aesthetic.
coming up with this on the fly right now,
This is
but I think
great.
elevated athleisure is kind of where I'm at. I want it to look clean. I want it to be very comfortable, and you have to wear, I know you're passionate about this too, shoes that you can walk 10 miles in
Closed toe.
and not look ridiculous or feel ridiculous. That's very important in the golf world.
Very important. There's
Yes.
a lot going on out there on the golf course. You never know what
Yes.
you could run into. And speaking of walking the golf course, we were talking before about every year you take the time to go out and walk the golf course. You walk
I
your
do.
18 holes.
I do.
Why is that?
And I
something
do
you
it by
prioritize?
myself, which I think is, I think it's just a moment to soak it all in, right? Like as we said, Augusta National Women's Amateur Week, and then we roll right into Masters Week. I think sometimes it can be really easy when we talk about wanting to be perfect and wanting to be as prepared as possible. It's really easy to get lost in everything that you want to do professionally and let the moment slip away of like what you're actually getting to do, right? And I think about like those deathbed moments is what I call them a lot, of like when I'm on my deathbed, am I gonna be so happy that I stayed in the media center and read 5 more, articles, or I did this thing. No, you know what I'm gonna remember? Walking 18 holes by
Sure.
myself, running into people, seeing people I wasn't expecting to see.
And getting your stories too. That's a
Right.
big
I
part
mean,
of what you
that's
do.
it's just such a I think it's really easy to take these moments for granted because we're so focused on wanting to be great. And I really, this week is such a great reminder that like, this is where you should slow down. This is where you should take that breath that like, like you said, like we've earned this right to be here. So let's appreciate it rather than just blowing right by it and already moving on to the next thing that we have to do to remain where we are. I think that's kind of a constant battle in life, but I do think being here is a really great reminder of that, of like, okay, let's just slow down and appreciate this because not everybody gets to do this. So let's make sure that we're not taking it for granted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of being here, your favorite Masters tournament food?
Favorite Masters tournament food. Okay, this is one people don't talk about nearly enough. The chicken biscuit. You can only get it in the mornings. Chicken biscuit.
Okay.
No hesitation.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that. If you were hosting a Masters watch party
Yes.
from home,
Yes.
what would be your recipe for the best time ever? And Amanda loves a best time ever day.
I love a party. Well, first of all, the fact that Augusta National offers this taste of the Masters.
Yes.
Yeah, order 17 of those
I've
packages.
had so many people message me and say, I've already ordered it.
Yeah, and the
Great.
work is already done for you. And I think this year they actually offered azalea.
Yes, the pre-mixed azalea.
And I do love a
Brilliant.
cocktail.
Brilliant.
So yeah, I would obviously have all of the azaleas.
Well, Amanda, I'm sure that I will be seeing you under the umbrellas at some point over the next few weeks.
This has been lovely. What a great way to kick off the next 2
This
weeks.
is a great way. I have all the chills.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for everything that's to come. And
So
we so
good.
appreciate you for being our very first guest under the umbrellas.
So proud of you. We're doing it.
We are.